Hi, Michael Bettine here for It's Cuppa Time, the first episode of 2023. I've got some questions and some thoughts I'd like to talk about today, do a little playing on the gongs. So let's jump right into it. First thing is 2022 was a good year for this YouTube channel. I produced and put up 46 videos, totaling over 25 hours of content. And let me tell you, that was a lot of work. I mean, that's almost a video a week. So that's pretty impressive to me. I was surprised when I went and totaled everything up to see, what the year was like. That's a lot of hard work. But I think it was worth it, and judging by all of your responses here on YouTube and Facebook and other places, it definitely was worth it. So I have to thank all of you for watching and commenting and just being there. I couldn't do this without viewers like you, honestly, because I don't want to just be talking to myself. I could do that easily enough without setting up a camera and mics and having to produce all this. So thank you, all of you. That's real important. Another important thing I'd like to say is I don't have any sponsors. I don't get any ad revenue from YouTube on this. I haven't reached that level yet. So this is all from my own pocket and from donations. There's a donation link down below if you feel so inclined that you have gotten value out of this YouTube channel and the videos I'm producing and the information that I'm transmitting your way. If you feel you've gotten some value out of it, please hit the donation button, the PayPal button, and throw a cup of coffee or something my way. I would really like to thank the people who have in 2022 donated to the channel, and some people have done it more than once. And I really appreciate that. The money that I get, I use to help improve the channel, like buying more software, more electronic gear, things like that. I'm working to get a much better camera right now. All those sort of things. So I take the money I get and just recycle it back in so that hopefully I can improve the content. And I think if you go back and you look a year ago, or you look at some of the videos in like 2022 and compare them to the more later 2023 videos, you should notice a difference in both the look and the quality of the look and in the sound, because I have really worked hard to improve things. And I do this all myself. I don't have a team of people. I wish I did. I wish I could just have a director and have a camera and sound person, and I could just sit here and talk all day long and play gongs and bowls and stuff, and then walk away and go have a cup of tea and read a book while everybody else is putting it together. But I do it all myself, so it's a lot of work, but it is a labor of love. I've really enjoy this. The technical part of me, the nerd part of me, really enjoys this. I like setting up everything. I like recording things. I like the post-production a lot, going through the audio and making sure that's good, doing the video, syncing the audio and video, because I record them separately. And sometimes I'll do multiple camera shoots, up to 3 cameras now. This is just a single camera today. But yeah, I love the post-production part. I actually do. It's a lot of fun to try to put it together and make it look and sound good. So again, thanks for being here. Thanks to all of you who have donated in the past year of 2022. And again, if you're getting value out of anything that I'm transmitting, please donate to the channel. I would appreciate that a lot, and that'll help me keep it going. Okay, well, let's move on to things here. I have some questions, some ideas that have come up in the past month or so. I know it's been like 3 weeks since I've done a video, but, you know, the Christmas and New Year's holiday, I was extremely busy. I have some real important things coming up here in January, so I don't know if we'll be on my Thursday schedule or once a week schedule, but I'll try to keep punching out the videos if I can. So just to warn you about that. Anyway, let's look at some stuff from Facebook. Anna Skelton of Gong International had asked a question, probably a month ago or so. I went to a beautiful gong event yesterday. There seems to be an emerging trend for gong concerts rather than gong baths. Discuss. Well, I think it's really all perspective is what it is. Both perspective of the player, the performer, whatever you want to call them, and of the listener. I know in my presentations as a gong session, gong meditation, or the dreaded gong bath, which is a term I haven't used in 15 years or so, and I don't think it's accurate for what I do. But I know that with my sessions, sometimes afterwards, people will say, you know, it was so interesting. I just watched you. Is that okay? And I'm like, fine. You know, that's okay. You know, it's their session. If they want to lay there with their eyes closed and soak up the sound, or if they want to sit up and soak it up visually and orally, that's fine with me, because my firm belief, and this is what I base everything I do on with the gongs and bowls and bells and such, is people will take from it what they need. So maybe I'll go into that more a little later, but let's talk about this. An emerging trend for gong concerts versus gong baths. Well, yeah, it's perspective, and I think a lot comes perspective of the player performer. So I can only speak from my perspective, and all these videos I make are from my perspective. They're my opinion, they're my ideas. I will often look at other people's ideas, but I can't get into other people's heads and psyches and know what they are thinking. But here's how it works for me. Years ago, probably 10, 15 years ago or so, I looked at playing the gongs as two separate events. One, a gong meditation session, or gong bath, if you insist on calling it that, okay? Two was a gong concert. And to me, they were two vastly different things. I would play very different types of gong music. I would, the whole structure was very different. And I toured around the country and played concerts. I had gongs and drums and all kinds of stuff, and I put on these concerts with a very massive setup. And it was designed to be a concert where people would be sitting there, and they would be watching and listening to the music produced. And then I would do a gong meditation session. I would use a different setup, play in a whole different manner, and people would lie on the mats or sit in chairs and have their eyes closed and just listen. So I looked at it as two very different things. Now, along the way, there are other things that I do. I'm also a writer. I've written all the blogs I've written. I've written books. I've written hundreds of magazine articles. And I saw that as another thing, too. So, okay, I'm a gong concert performer. I'm a gong session player. I am a writer. And then I do other things, too. I compose music. I record the music. I produce it. I do digital design and artwork. I design all, a lot of my own materials. Now I farm some of that out to a good friend who does album covers and stuff for me. But I was doing all of that, and I saw everything compartmentalized as being separate. And it's like, well, today I'm putting on the gong performer hat. Now I'm putting on the writer hat. I'm putting on the drummer hat, and I'm playing drums for some recording or band or something. Now I'm doing this and doing that. So it was a matter of, as I say, putting on different hats. And so, like I said, everything to me was compartmentalized. And I would move from one compartment to another, and everything was separate. But I think part of this is maturity and experience. As I worked more and more, I came into what I call the grand unification, which is just everything just became one. There were no more separations, no more compartments. It's just, this is me. And I realized that I'm expressing the exact same thing, but in different ways. So I'm expressing to you right now on a video while speaking my thoughts. I could easily take these same thoughts and type them on a computer and make a blog out of it. Or I could take these same thoughts and I could play the gongs and make some sort of a soundscape with them. So are you following with me here? So I came to this realization that everything I do is everything. And it's all really one. It's just an expression of myself, my artistry, whatever you want to call it, my heart, my soul. It's just an expression of that in a slightly different manner, but it's the same expression. So I've come to the point where there are no borders. There are no boxes. There are no walls. It's just all me. And I just do it. So for me, I don't see really any difference anymore between playing a gong concert or a gong session, gong bath. It's the same thing. Now I have a concert coming up next month, February, an actual concert, people sitting in chairs at a venue, and they're going to be watching and listening to me play. And I am going to play, at this time, my plan is to play almost the same thing that I am currently doing in a gong session for people lying on yoga mats and eye pillows and blankets and all. There will be some slight differences maybe. Part of it is the time limit. I'm on a multi-artist bill, so I believe I have 45 minutes as opposed to, I usually play for well over an hour, usually 70 minutes. So I'm not going to change what I do. I'm just going to pick out what I want to do and just kind of do the same thing because it's what I do. It's me. So I don't really see a difference there. Now, one part that is slightly different that might happen in certain situations in a concert situation, I might use different instruments. I might tend to use more percussive instruments. Like I love wood blocks, so I might bring wood blocks along with me, bring some actual hand drums with me, bring some other things that are a little more percussive, staccato sort of sounds, which I don't normally use in more of a meditation type situation because I want the sounds to be more open and flowing, legato, as you might say, as opposed to staccato. I mean, if somebody's lying on a yoga mat and I start banging on wood blocks, that might, really assault their mood there. So sometimes I change, but the actual way I play and present my music is the same. So for me, and again, this is my own personal thing, how I work, how I think, how I operate is I have no boundaries anymore. I just do me. whether it's a gong concert, a gong meditation, whether I'm playing with other musicians in a duo, trio, large, form improvised setting, whether somebody sends me a recording to add percussion in gongs and sounds onto, which is something I do. So if you need exotic percussion and sounds added to your recording, I have a full studio here. Let me know. I can do that. So it's just all me. That's my personal way of working with this. And like I said, I had that sort of aha moment years ago when I just realized, I'm really just doing the same thing with a different outlet. I pick up a pen, I type on a keyboard, I pick up a mallet, I pick up a drumstick, I use my fingers. It's all the same expression. So that's my answer to that question. I hope that helps. Maybe gives you some food for thought. And it's fine if you think of things in two totally complete ways. That's fine. This is just a conclusion I came to. But now let's look at that idea of a concert versus a gong bath. I guess a big thing is how the player/performer sees what they are doing. I think if people are lying on yoga mats with their eyes closed or eye pillows and you're dancing around and doing all kinds of movement, that's pretty wasted, because who is going to see that? That's more of a concert sort of thing, where I think people want to see more movement when it's visual. They don't want to just see you standing there and not moving. I want to see some movement. Okay, I might move a little more when I'm in more of a concert situation, just because there's that visual element. If you're doing all that sort of stuff and dancing and all that, and everybody's got their eyes closed, it's kind of wasted. But if that helps you express yourself, then why not? Some of us are more express ourselves in different ways, I guess. My wife did her master's thesis on the theory of multiple intelligences, which was a famous book and a whole study and everything about how people see the world and express themselves in the world through different ways. Now, my wife was a longtime music teacher, so she had a lot of experience with people expressing themselves in different ways. So you think of some people, like real brainy nerd type of person, express themselves. They might be able to sit still and write and really focus on that. Whereas somebody who's what they call bodily kinesthetic needs to move. They want to dance around. They can't sit in a desk all day and just write. It doesn't work for them. They need to get up and move. They would be great in something like dance or gymnastics or something like that, because that's their nature. Whereas the more nerdy, sitting there and concentrating and focusing person might not be very good at expressing themselves in dance or gymnastics or some sort of physical movement activity like that. So I think a big part of, is it a concert or is it a session, is how people express themselves and what it takes. And I mean, if your audience, and a lot of people kind of bristle when I say audience for like a gong session, gong bath, whatever audience. I've been a performing musician since I was 15, so that's over 50 years. So I always think in that sort of terms, and I'm thinking audience. If your audience is with you, who cares what you're doing? That's the whole point of doing a gong session, is to engage with the people out there. If you're just up here and you're playing and you're doing your stuff and you don't care what's going on out there, and I've seen people do that. I've experienced sessions like that. that's bad. It's the same if you're playing in a club and you're up on stage with your band and you could give a hoot about the people out there and you're just up there just doing your thing and not caring. Well, that's why not many people are coming to your concerts, because they don't feel like they're cared for. If you look at all the big name artists, bands, singers, whatever, the big thing they have in common is they communicate to their audience, to their people. So if you were playing your gongs, your bowls, your bells, your drums, your shakers and everything, and you were communicating to your people your message, your way, what it's about to you, if you're communicating that to them, who cares how you're playing or how it's perceived? If it's perceived as someone says, oh, that's a concert, they put on a gong concert. No, they put on a gong bath. It doesn't really matter. It's just, if you're communicating, if you are able to transmit what you want to your people, that's all that matters. Okay, let's move on. Let's do some playing. I have up here 3 water gongs. I have way over here the original, the 24-inch Sound Creation number 4 water. And then I have one of the new Paiste Bronze Gongs, number 4, which is based on the number 3 water. And then over here I have the lovely Paiste Bronze number 2, which is also based on the number 3 water. So I have 2, 3, and 4. It's all confusing. But I love it that Paiste uses numbers. It's kind of great because that lets you really call them what you want. I have different names for all the bronze gongs for what they mean to me. So what it means to you could be something totally different. So I do like that, as opposed to saying, well, this is a moon gong and this is a comet gong and this is a supernova gong or something. It's like, nah. I mean, those are nice. There's nothing wrong with naming them, but I like the idea that there were Paiste chose numbers for the original Sound Creation gongs. They were just 1 through 10. And the hopefully first series of bronze gongs are 1 through 9, missing a couple of numbers. So that's kind of cool. Make up your own mind. And anything. I mean, you got a planet gong. What have I got? I got a Venus here. What does it sound like to you? What does it mean to you? I think that's important. More important than what kind of symbol is on it or what kind of name it has. What does it mean to you? Anyway, this is 3 waters. Water gongs, or whatever you want to call them. The original Sound Creation number 4 water gong is the most extraordinary gong. It's one gong I wish Paiste would produce again. It is just the most beautiful gong. Anyway, let's move on. I think talking about playing performance versus session or bass, really it's just all about coherence. And coherence is the quality of forming a unified whole. That's what I was talking about with me. I try to make everything coherent to what happens up here in my brain box. I transmit it out to the people and let them decide. Do they like it? Don't they like it? Do they hate it? That sort of thing. And take from it what they want. If they want to listen, if they want to watch, if they feel something deeply, if they fall asleep. I have people fall asleep all the time at my sessions. And that's what they need, and that's what they take from it. And people afterwards have told me, that is the best sleep I have had in months. One gentleman was suffering from insomnia. He hadn't had a really good sleep in months, and he just thanked me afterwards. He just couldn't stop thanking me because he finally reached that very deep state of sleep where everything happens. That's where the magic happens. You know, if you can reach that deep state. So I just let people take what they want and decide for themselves what I'm doing. I transmit it, they receive it, they do what they want with it. Okay, let's move on. Question here that came up on one of my videos from Stefan Guillemot, if I'm pronouncing it right. Maybe my question is without an answer, but let's try. I like to set a gong center, if you have to. What will be your gong selection to bring diversity and may not only take Paiste gongs? Okay, if I understand this right, I mean, let's just look at what I just did here. Yeah, they're all Paiste gongs, but I just put up 3 gongs that I don't think I've ever really played those 3 extensively together. In trying them out when I first got the bronze gongs and comparing them, I did. But I haven't played those 3 together in probably a year or more. I just put them up and I played. Everything comes from here. I have said this over and over and over. These lovely and wonderful and amazing as they are, they're pieces of metal that are heated and hammered out to a shape to create a sound. But that's all they are. They are possibilities. I mean, I could sit here and we could just look at these lovely objects hanging behind me, but nothing is happening. They're just hanging there. There are inherent possibility of sound here, but there is no sound. If you want to look at them as works of art, then they're fine this way. You can hang them on your wall and you can just look at them and go, my, that's such a beautiful gong. I love the colors and I love the shape and all that. Okay, it functions that way. But as far as sound and creating music, and I'm always creating music, and if you play gongs, you need to realize you are creating music. Too many people out there are creating noise, but that's a whole nother subject. Anyway, these are just pieces of metal. There's nothing happening. But they're full of inherent possibility of something happening, of sound happening. And it's not until I do something that I create that possibility. It's not until then that we have a sound and hopefully music. So I just look at, they're just pieces of metal. Same thing with a bowl. Find a bowl here. Okay. Here's a rim bowl. It's nice to look at. It's just a small rim bowl. This is about 5 inches in diameter. Nothing happening. It's a nice object. I could put this on a coffee table or the mantle or something, and it looks pretty and it's nice, but there is no sound. There is inherent possibility for sound in it because it is a sound object, but it's not until I do something to create the sound. So the whole idea of what gongs should I use? What bowls should I use? How should I build a set? What goes with what? Do this to do that. In many ways, to me, that's very immaterial because it all starts here. And especially it starts up here. What am I hearing in my mind? And that's how I put everything together. It's like I'm hearing sounds. I'm hearing possibilities of sounds. I've played these gongs behind me. All 6 of these. I know what each one sounds like, so I can hear inherent possibilities of what they will sound like together. And I can play a whole thing, and I can go, yeah, I've got these sounds in my mind. I can play them and discover other sounds, and then in my mind I can think of where can I take this other sound to. I can pick up all types of mallets, and these have inherent possibilities. Soft, hard, real varied, soft, and all kinds of different sounds. These are just mallets and implements, but they are inherent possibilities for sound. I can create different sounds with those. So I think that's an important thing I want you to understand is these are just objects. These are just objects. These are tools. These are tools. You can have a pile of wood, a box full of nails, and a hammer, and that's not a shed. But if you hammer the get the hammer and take the nails and connect the wood together, you can build a shed. But the pile of everything sitting there is not a shed. It's a possibility of a shed. And you can use different materials, different types of wood. You can paint it, you can cover it, you can do whatever. But it's nothing until you do it. So that's an important thing, I think, to understand about all this. Let me look at that question one more time. I like to set a gong center. Okay, if you mean by that a main gong, possibly, we'll just pick one out. My 32-inch symphonic is my main gong. It has been to almost every concert, and it's been to every session, gong session that I've done, because it's what I base everything on. But I could play without it. I could bring this set of gongs and do a concert or a gong session and not have that. Because the sound, again, is here. The center, here's the center. It's right here. It's me. And what will be your gong selection to bring diversity? And not only just Paiste gongs. Well, yeah, I can bring any sort of gongs. I have all types of gongs. I have chow gongs. I have wind gongs. I have sun gongs. I have gongs from UFIP. I have gongs from Grota Sonora. I have gongs from Steve Hoback. I have stainless steel gongs. I hate to say this, but I've got probably over 130 gongs. I mean, I could put together just about any sort of selection of gongs and go out and play a concert or a gong bath with any of them. Because, again, they're just tools. So to me, this is the most important thing I can transmit to you as a gong player, performer, whatever. These are tools. One, they are tools. Just as these are tools. They're nothing without you, except they are inherent possibilities. Again, these are hanging up behind me. They look beautiful. But there's nothing happening. And nothing will happen until somebody, me or someone else, creates some sounds with them. My mallet bag here. All these wonderful, amazing mallets. Look at all that. Again, there's no sounds. So nothing happens until I take a mallet, strike a gong or a bowl or a bell, or I pick up a shaker or a rattle and shake it. I play a drum. Nothing happens until I do it. So the center is me. The center is you. The possibilities are your instruments, which are just tools. I know people will disagree, and I've upset people before by saying that, but that is my personal feeling, and that's how I work with it. These are tools. They are so lovely. I mean, these gongs are beautiful, but hanging on a stand or sitting in a bag or a case, they're nothing. There's no sound. So that's the important thing about that. And the third thing I'd like to really kind of address is change. Especially if you go back through all my videos, like I said, there's been an improvement in the color, hopefully, and even, how I set them up and all, the lighting, the sound and all. But I think, especially if you go back in my real old ones and watch me perform, play, whatever you want to call it, watch me play the gongs then versus how I play now in a more recent one, even how I just played, these gongs, it's changed. But to me, it's an evolution, not a revolution. I haven't just up and doing something completely different. No, It's an evolution, and it's an ongoing process. It's growing. That's what we should do. We need to grow. We need to keep moving. We need to keep learning. I was just watching some YouTube gong videos this morning. I watch a lot of people play on YouTube because a thing I realized a long time ago, and this is probably true for all of us. I mean, we see everything through our own lens, our own perspective. And in some cases, I know in my case, sometimes it can be a little myopic. I'll be the first to admit that. That sometimes I only can see directly what's in front of me. And there can be all kinds of stuff going on here, and I don't really pick up on it. And I realize that is sort of a blind spot, if you will, for me. I can be very focused here and miss things over here. So I try to watch a lot of videos on YouTube, not just gongs and that, but people playing all kinds of instruments because I love music. And you can pick things up musically from other people, even techniques that you can sort of transfer the way people are moving, standing, sitting, holding their instruments, all this. You can sometimes pick up ideas as far as transferring it to the gongs and the bowls and that. So I watch a lot of videos. I was watching gong videos this morning. And I like to see it because, again, sometimes I can be myopic and I just only see my way in all that. And I don't see other people's ways. So I like to see what other people do. To me, the most revelatory things that have happened to me in the past few years was going to the Gong Summit and going to the past two gong camps out in Pennsylvania and mingling with other gong players. Now, even though I was teaching at all these events and I presented concerts and I taught and all this sort of stuff, I was as much a learner as everybody else there. The only thing I have over on anybody else's experience is years. I mean, I've been playing percussion over 50 years. So I have that sort of experience. Maybe you played gongs for 6 months. That's the only difference between us, is I have experience. I'm a little further on the journey, a little further down the path. But that doesn't make me better than you. It just makes me different. And again, I have experience. But again, because sometimes you're walking down your own path and you're not seeing the other stuff, I like to hang out with other players. So at the Gong Summit and the Gong Camp, I was soaking in so much information from watching and hearing the other people play there, both in the informal stuff, in the workshops where people were just practicing and learning things, and in the concerts and sessions that were presented. And it was just, and even just talking to people. I love that part, just the hang and talking to people and all. But especially seeing how other people approach these instruments. I don't have all the answers. I only have my answers. So it was really great to experience other gong players in person over multiple days and be able to take all that in. So I remember after the Gong Summit, there were like 90 people there, and we were all in this resort. We had the whole place to ourselves. And Sean Aceto and Grota Asora and Steve Weiss Music all brought like tons of gongs. So, there were gongs in the hallways and the dining rooms and all over the place. And everybody was playing gongs all day and all night long. And just being there with the gong tribe and experiencing everybody else was so intense. I know when I got home, it took me weeks, even months, to process everything and all the ideas and all the information that I picked up. And then to gradually filter it through my lens that I use, that I see the world through, filter it through my lens and, take some of those ideas and make them my own. Put my own spin on them. So I think it's important to do that too, is to really, don't watch just my videos, watch all kinds of videos. There's so many people on YouTube now who play gongs. It's crazy. And watch the good ones, or what you think are good, and look at some that you don't think are good, because I'd say everybody has something good to say. But even the things that I think are kind of horrible, what's important is you learn, oh, that's not how I want to play. That's not the kind of sound or noise that I want to make. So you can learn from both perspectives. So anyway, I'm getting kind of long-winded today, probably because I haven't done a video in 3 or 4 weeks. And I've been thinking throughout the holiday season about all these ideas. So let's just kind of recap things. Everything is through your experience. Just play you. Don't put a label on it. Don't say, oh, this is a gong concert today. Tomorrow I'm doing a gong bath. Next week I'm doing a gong whatever. No, don't do that. Just play. Play yourself. Do your thing. Do it. Be you. That's all that matters. People will pick up on that and they will take what they want, or if they don't want anything, they'll just leave it behind. And that doesn't matter either, because you can't get everybody to love you. I know not everybody likes my videos or what I say. And some people think I'm controversial because I have my own opinions and I'm not afraid to say them. But that's the way of the world. But be you. That's all I want to say. Be you. Just go out and be you on the gongs and bowls and bells and stuff. If you play one gong, it's cool. If you play 20 gongs and all kinds of bells and bowls, cool too. Just to be you. Follow your heart. Follow your vision. Okay? And that will lead you down your own path. And we can only take our own path. If we follow in someone else's footsteps, we're just in their footsteps. We're never them. You can never be me. I'm the best me there is. I'm the best at what I do. And what I do is being me. And you can copy all my moves and have the same gong set up, and you do all that, and you still won't be me, because for one reason, I'm always going to be steps ahead of you, because I keep moving forward. So don't be a copy or a clone. Be yourself and follow your own path. And if people don't like it, that's cool. If people love it, that's cool. That's all I try to do. I just try to do my own thing. I do all these crazy videos for you folks. If you like them, I'm really grateful. So thanks a lot. We will see you next time on It's Cup of Time.